This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, sir. Are you there in the meeting, sir? I think sir is there in the meeting.
Hello, sir. Kindly unmute, sir. It's present. But yes. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What? Am I
Sir,
audible?
yes, you're audible. Please start.
Okay. Good evening, one and all. This is Syed Zakiuddin, Board of Directors of Medico Hub. I welcome you all, and I am glad to announce we have reached to the 30th session of our initiative. Today, you all will be taken to an explorative journey to our past life by Syed Arbaz and understand the development of cardiovascular system when you were a small embryo. Throwing some limelight on our organization Medico Hub, we few students from 2K17 batch of Deccan College of Medical Sciences who are namely with their designation Syed Arbaz, student president, Muhammad Sadat Mohiuddin, student vice president, Nusrat Fatima, student secretariat. Our board of directors include Syed Zakiuddin, that's me, and Pranav Naumullah, Syed Ahmadinisa Samira, and Anant Naik. With the pure motive of guiding our juniors, helping them through this journey, and having an interaction with those in other colleges, we came forward with this initiative. This also created an opportunity to living people of different mindsets to come together at one stage and form a healthy medical community together and learn and grow together. Starting from step by step of our organization has now grown to a total of 500 participation in our WhatsApp group, ranging not only from our Telangana, it's going beyond in Andhra Pradesh also. List of colleges include Deccan College of Medical Sciences, Bhaskara Medical College, Kakatiya Medical College, Dhamineni Medical College, Sadan College of Medical Sciences, Ayan Institute of Medical Sciences, MNR Medical College, GMC Medical College, Swarabi Medical College, and ACSR Government College, Fatima Institute of Medical College. And I welcome here to our Sir Vijay Mohan sir is our head of department of medicine department in our OSU hospital. Sagar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would like to add a few words for our chief guest today. Yes, today's session is a very special as among us in this learning session, we are honored to have our respected sir Dr. Vijay Mohan, Head of Department, General Medicine, DCMS. Words fall short to describe the splendid nature of our sir's personality. Dr. Vijay Mohan
Yes,
sir, as a doctor, has won hundreds of hearts with his patients all
I'm
across the
listening.
globe. The passion, yes, sir. The
Sorry.
empathy, the courage, the interest, the hard work Sir shows in teaching his patients as well as his students is remarkable example for all the budding medicos. He is like a sunlight to a plant necessary for it to grow into a healthy and fruitful tree. I am fortunate enough to be posted under Sir a couple of times. It increased our thirst for knowledge, ambition to be a doctor, not just to add a prefix to one name, but be a doctor for its true meaning, full of knowledge and care towards his patients. The seed in our winds to start this organization holds its roots deep down when we observed and watched Sir teaching. Sir has an uncomparable passion towards teaching. He focuses on imprinting the basic principles of medicine in each and every medico's heart and mind so that they turn out to be a bright future of the world. I bet to every junior out there, once you attend Dr. Vijay Mohan Sir's class, you wouldn't be ready to leave the seat and will be urged for more of his teaching. A constant motto that Sir reminds us again and again, a doctor is forever learner. Once you stop learning, the doctor in you dies. It's indeed true. Gaining inspiration from Sir, who's intellectual yet be- below words, who made our minds think out of the box, not limiting ourselves to be a couch potato. I welcome Sir today. If you, Sir, would like to add few words, thank you very much for giving your time, Sir, to our organization.
Dr. Vijayamohan sir, Dr. Vijayamohan sir have set many examples, milestones, and records in medical field. With having dealt with many rare cases, sir shares those cases with his students. I myself am thankful to sir, under whom I have presented the case titled TB or not TB in ages. From many examples, such as giving his valuable knowledge while walking in the corridor or conducting the very first virtual bedside teaching program or taking interactive sessions in 6 a.m. in the morning, which was attended by around 300 students, sir, have shown that medicine can be learnt and understood irrespective of the time or place. Not only this, Dr. Vijay Mohan sir has created an all India record for taking a total of 150 online sessions, which include 120 for UGs and 30 for PGs in the lockdown period from April till June 2020. Sir has also organized COVIDCon 2020 on 3rd October of 2020, where Dr. Vijay Mohan sir, doctors from US, UK, like Dr. Alex, Dr. Thomas, Dr. Vijay, and senior UGs and PGs of Deccan College of Medical Sciences have shared their valuable knowledge with us. COVIDCon has set another example where the same enthusiasm was shown till 2 a.m. in the night. Thank you, sir, for giving us your precious time despite your hectic schedule.
Sir, if you
Thank you
would like
everyone
to
for
add
the
a few
introduction.
words.
I request sir
Yeah.
to please enlighten.
Uh, Good evening, my dear students from different colleges. Are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, sir, we are able to hear you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. But I can't see anyone. Is it only audio thing?
Yes, sir, we'll present the screen when we are explaining, sir.
Oh, great. Okay, okay. Once again, good evening, my dear students from all over. Firstly, I would like to thank Arbaz, Nusrat, Sadat, Sameer, and their entire dynamic team for this remarkable initiation of helping the juniors. This is, I think, this is the first of. At least, I have never heard of this kind of uh, uh, activity in my experience. I really congratulate this dynamic group, my dear students of Deccan Medical College. And I don't know, I'm really thanks for those appreciating words, Arbaz and Thank you for very much for this appreciating words. I don't know, I'm really worth of those many good words. I don't know. No, however, see, I am a teacher, I'm a professor of medicine. That's okay. Officially, yes. But basically, I'm a passionate teacher. I want to teach. I'm waiting for my students. I'm feeling handicapped now. I'm feeling that students are not there. I'm not doing as if I'm feeling as if I'm unemployed now. Though I'm going to hospital, though I'm seeing the patient, though I'm teaching the PGs, but when UGs are not around me, I feel uncomfortable. I feel that I'm not doing my job enough. Uh, I think once we listen to this talk of somebody's talk, who's talking, Arva, today?
Yes, sir. It's me, sir. It's me.
Okay, I think after you talk, give me a couple of more minutes, then we will interact with the student later on.
Yes,
So I
yes,
think I'll
yes.
with this small. I think we'll hand over the session to Arbaz. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I'll now start with the session, guys. Yes. I request Sadat to please make me organizer and some other person also organizer, and whoever is unmuted, please mute them. The organizer has an option to go there. There will be 3 dots. You can click there and you can mute whoever is unmuted. Because if some other person is unmuted while the speaker is talking, it will be a disturbance and this audio will not be very much proper. So guys, as you all know, today we are going to discuss about the systemic embryology. So firstly, Sadat, can you make me the presenter? Because I would like to show them the model from the 3D anatomy app.
Yeah,
Now, how
one
are we
second.
going to
There's
proceed?
a slight issue. One second.
Yes, sir. Yes, Sadat. How are we going to proceed with the session today? Today, first we'll see in the 3D anatomy app, the different chambers of the heart, the gross anatomy of the heart in very brief. I know you all know this, but because of limited cadaveric exposure that we have in this COVID period, I'd like to show them how the different chambers, the borders, the surfaces of the heart, the trunks, that the major arteries from where are they arising and from where they are entering the heart. Then we'll come on to explain the then we'll come on to understand the embryology of the heart. So that will be the organization of the topic for today. I am still not the presenter. Can Sadat make me?
One second, Arbaz. There's a slight issue. Your name is not being seen in the list.
Yes, you can take their time. And I would like everyone to please watch in a big screen. To please watch in a big screen, because that would make more sense when you watch it in a big screen like a laptop.
Yes, Arbaz. I think I have made you the
chat box in my
presenter.
iPad,
Kindly
and
start.
also the coordinators will be
Yes.
yes, and also the coordinators will be yes. Am I visible, Sadat?
Yes, Arbaz. Your phone is visible. Screen is visible.
Yes, my screen is visible and I'm audible as well. So let us first, I request everyone to please mute down. Mute, please mute. Yes. So let us start, guys. Let us first see where our heart is located. Everyone knows that it is located in the middle mediastinum. And what is the shape of our heart? Irrelevant to say over here. It is, yes, like a fallen cone lying towards your left side. Now, if we see, first we'll see the major vessels of the heart. Okay, major vessels of the heart. This, can you see the highlighted structure over here, which I am showing, is the superior vena cava, guys. From where it is arise, what are the veins forming the superior vena cava? This is your brachiocephalic vein, left brachiocephalic vein and right brachiocephalic vein. Yes, I think this is visible. And brachiocephalic vein is in turn formed by the internal jugular vein. Is this true? Internal jugular vein. And this is the subclavian vein, guys, which I have highlighted. I hope this is visible. I am keeping it a bit slow because I realize that there will be a little lack because of the internet issue and all. So I'm going a little bit slow over here. So we all know the internal jugular vein. Yes. The internal jugular vein and the subclavian vein has formed the brachiocephalic vein, right and left respectively, which has formed your superior vena cava and which is draining this in this chamber. What is this chamber? This chamber is our right atrium. Yes. And now what happens is, this is our ascending aorta. Ascending aorta, this is the arch of aorta. Yes, this is arch of aorta, and this is the descending aorta. This is the thoracic part of the descending aorta, and here will lie our abdominal aorta, descending part of the abdominal aorta. Yes. Yes, I hope we can see. Now let me remove this venous system if I can and see only the heart. Yes, I think we can see only the heart over here. Let me remove the lungs from here. Let me remove the lungs. And can we see over here this trunk, this trunk? This is the pulmonary trunk, guys. From where is it arising? From your right ventricle. So pulmonary trunk, can you see it is dividing, guys? It is dividing into right pulmonary artery and left pulmonary artery. I hope it is visible, guys. Yes. Now, which goes to the lungs, and these are the pulmonary veins, which I have highlighted now. Two veins over the right side and two veins over the left side. You have the pulmonary veins. Yes, yes, which are coming from the lung and draining into the left atrium. I hope all this is visible. Now let us remove all these structures from here and see only the chambers of the heart. Yes, I have what I have removed now. I have removed the pulmonary arteries. I have removed. Now whatever you are seeing over here, from the lungs they are coming, the arterial tree, the venous tree of the lung, and draining. Can you see very beautifully how they are draining into the left atrium? Yes, I think you can see, guys. Now I will remove these things also. I will remove. Did I remove? Yes, I have removed. Now what we are seeing is just the heart. Just the heart. Now let us see the surfaces of the heart and the borders of the heart. Let us see the surfaces and the borders of the heart. I request Sadat. I think someone is unmuted. Can you please just see who is unmuted and mute them, please? Thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, sure, Arbaz. Please continue.
So you will be asked in your Viva, guys, to keep the heart in the anatomical position. You will be asked the various borders of the heart. You will be asked the various surfaces of the heart. So let us keep the heart in anatomical position first. So this is the heart, how I am keeping it. This is the inferior or diaphragmatic surface of the heart. You have to keep this inferior surface or the diaphragmatic surface of the heart on your palm. Now, what I have, where my pointer is right now, can you see my pointer where it is? That is the apex of the heart. The apex of the heart should be on your middle finger. Okay, you should keep the heart on your left palm. The apex should be pointing towards the left middle finger. Is it clear? Can I see in the chat box if everyone is able to see, understand, and does it make sense? Can I see in the chat box? Please type yes.
Yes, Arbaz. Yes, everybody's telling yes in the chat box.
Yes, that's great. That's great. Everyone is able to see. Yes. So you have kept this on the anatomical position. This is the inferior surface of the heart. Now, when you keep this in the anatomical position, this part which you are seeing right now, the left atrium and the right atrium will be facing towards your wrist. Yes, will it be facing towards your wrist? This part which is facing towards your wrist, when you keep the heart in the anatomical position, is called the base of the heart, guys. What it is called? The base of the heart. Can you very beautifully see how the base is formed, which chambers are majorly contributing towards the formation of the base? Yes, your left atrium is a major contribution of the base of the heart. A small part is contributed by the right atrium, guys. Yes, is it visible, guys? So you will be asked in the Viva, what are the chambers forming the base of the heart? And many people will be having a misconception that base is nothing but the inferior surface. No, guys, inferior or diaphragmatic surface is a different surface, and base is formed by this posterior structures, guys. What are these? The chambers. And can you very beautifully see now in this session, your atria are lying posterior superior to the ventricles? Can you see? Yes, I think you can see very clearly. Now this is the superolateral surface of the heart, faming, or the sternocostal surface of the heart. Let me remove this and we can see inside the heart now. Now, can we see inside the heart very beautifully? This is our right ventricle, guys, and this is our left ventricle. I think we can see, and you can very beautifully see over here the tricuspid valve with three cusps. I will remove one of the cusps and you can see, okay, I cannot remove one cusp separately. So we can see how beautifully there are three cusps in the tricuspid valve, and you can very beautifully see over here that these are attached with the chordae tendineae, guys. Can you see the chordae tendineae over here, which are in turn attached to some muscular conical projections arising from the wall of the heart? What are they known as? Can I know in the chat box? That is a chiller question, a nursery question. Everyone should be able to answer it. Can I see in the chat box? Yes. What are these conical projections, guys?
Yes, papillary muscles. Papillary
Very good,
muscles.
Tejaswini. Very good, Ariba. Yes, very good, very good. That is the papillary muscle. And can you see the septomarginal or the moderator band, which is arising from the anterior surface of your the ventricular right ventricular cavity and attaching to the septum? Yes, this is the moderator band or the septomarginal band, which carries the left bundle branch. Left bundle branch. Can you see the left bundle branch over here, which is carried by the septomarginal band? Is it clear? Can you see? Can you make sense? Now let us proceed with the cavity of the ventricle. We have seen the cusp, which is surrounded by a annulus, guys. Is this? Can I have everyone muted, please?
Yes, Zaki, kindly mute the mic, please.
Sadak, you have the authority there. You are the organizer, right? You can click and unmute them. Sorry, mute them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
So
Vijayamohan sir is also kind of. Yeah, you may continue.
yes. This is the annulus, guys. This is the annulus. Annulus from where your valve is arising. Valve is arising. Yes, I think this is visible very clearly. Now let us see the smooth and rough part. Every chamber in the heart, guys, every chamber in the heart have a rough part and a smooth part, guys. Yes, do you all know this? Yes, I hope everyone knows this. They arise from a different embryological structure. So the embryological origin is different for the smooth and the rough part. The inflow or the outflow part will be the smooth part, guys. So this is the smooth part. So this right ventricle will end in which part, guys? We will give the blood to your pulmonary trunk. So here this is the conus or the smooth part of the right ventricle, guys. And the smooth part of the left ventricle you can see here. We can see over here. We can see the cusps of the semilunar valves, and this is the smooth part of the left ventricle, guys. So there is a smooth part of the right ventricle and a rough part of the right ventricle. Similarly, we have smooth part of the left ventricle and rough part of the left ventricle. Similar things we will see in the atria, guys. I hope everyone is able to understand this very, very clearly. I hope we have dealt heart in much, briefly. We have held these appendages, guys, which you can see over here are known as the auricles, guys. These are appendages or auricles. Okay. Yes. I would just like to show you the borders of the heart because that is very important Viva question. I don't have a separate this thing for the okay. We'll come with this. Just a second, guys. Sorry for the delay. I have to remove all this once again. Just a second. Just a second. Yes. Yes. So I am removing all the pulmonary veins, the pulmonary arteries, and all I have removed. So let us see over here the surfaces of the heart. The base we have seen. Let us once again keep the heart in our anatomical position. Now imagine keep your palm like this, and on your palm the heart is there. This is the anatomical position. Okay. Everyone knows the anatomical position, right? Tell yes. Type yes in the chat box.
Yes, everybody's telling yes or pass.
Yes. Very good, guys. Yes. Now, what is the superior border of the heart? Your base is nothing but superior border of the heart. Write down, guys. Base is nothing but superior border of the heart. I hope it is very, very clear. What is the right border of the heart? I will be moving the cursor. You can see where the right border is. From the superior vena cava till the inferior vena cava on the right atrium is the right border of the heart. This is the right border of the heart. Can you very clearly see this? This is the right border of the heart. If you cut the heart with the right border, you can enter inside the right atrium. Yes, I think that is clear. Now, from here, guys, from here till the apex of the heart, from here, the atrium till the apex of the heart, where I am moving my cursor, this border of the heart is the inferior border of the heart, guys. This is a horizontal border. If we keep in the anatomical position, that is the inferior border of the heart. I hope this is clear. Yes. Yes. Now, if we keep this is the anatomical position once again. I am seeing it from my left side. If I start from the auricle and proceed down towards my apex of the heart, where I am moving my cursor, that is which part of which border of the heart? That is my left border of the heart. So how many borders have we seen? We have seen the superior border, which is nothing but the base. We have seen the right border, which is starting from the superior vena cava till the inferior vena cava on the right atrium. We have once again seen the inferior border of the heart. We have seen the left border of the heart, which is nothing but on the left border. And subsequently, you can see the surfaces of the heart. So not wasting much of our time in this diagram, let us, I think the anatomy is clear. We will now start with our cardiovascular embryology. So I will end my recording, I'll on my camera and we will start. We will be start. Yes. Sadak, please keep intimating me about the time
Yes.
because I may not know it.
Yeah. Okay. It's 7:30 right now.
Yes.
You
Okay.
may proceed now, Arbaz. If there is any slight blurring, I will tell you about that also.
Yeah, please keep telling me about the blurring aspect as well. Okay, let us now start, guys. Let us start with the embryology of the heart. Just a second. Let me just adjust this thing. Yes, we all know from the previous session that we have conducted, I showed you the model of the embryo, how it is folding. I have shown you the ectoderm, mesoderm and the endoderm. I will ask fastest finger first questions. Please type in the chat box whatever I am asking. Now I'll be tearing this. Yes, we'll do this in 5 minutes so that we'll have a good orientation. And for the people who did not attend that session, how many people are there in the session right now? I think more than 100. Yes.
111. Yes, 111 students. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So what is this? What is this, guys? What is this? What is this? What is this? Ectoderm. Very good. Very good. What is this, Tejaswini? Very good. What is this? Fastest finger first. You have to keep typing fast. Just type the short
Yes,
form. Don't
mesoderm.
keep typing everything.
Suboi, mesoderm.
This
Yes.
is the endoderm. Yes, we have seen this. Okay, I will remove this because it will be very good, easily visible over here. So I told you this is the trilaminar germ disc. This is the trilaminar germ disc on the ectoderm at one end of the embryo. At the cranial end of the embryo, the ectoderm will directly be attached to the endoderm without there being any underlying mesoderm. This is known as what, guys? Procaudal plate. Everyone knows that. Procaudal plate. Procaudal plate. And here at caudal end of the embryo, what you will have, guys? You will have the what you will have? May I know in the chat box? Yes, that is the anal plate. Very good. And now here in the mesoderm, this is the mesoderm, the cranial most part, there will be one septum, guys. The cranial most part of the embryo in the mesoderm. I am representing that on ectoderm also. What is that, guys? Can someone unmute and answer? What is this? What is this? What I have drawn?
Septum transversarium.
Septum transversum.
Yes. That is septum transversum, guys. Very, very good. Very good. So this is septum transversum lying cranial most part of your trilaminar germ disc, guys. Yes, the area between the septum transversum and the procaudal plate over here is your cardiogenic area, guys. This is your cardiogenic area. Write down. What is your cardiogenic area? The area between the septum transversum and the procaudal plate. Keep noting it down, guys. Yes, I'm going in a moderate speed. Yes, keep noting it down. Now, in the cardiogenic area, the embryo has not yet folded. Before folding of the embryo, the cardiogenic area is lying caudal to your septum transversum and cranial to the procaudal plate. Is it clear? The cardiogenic area before the folding of embryo is lying caudal to septum transversum and cranial to procaudal plate. Now let us fold our embryo. Yes, we will fold the embryo like this. Below the procaudal plate, this is the head fold of the embryo. Now here this will be the anal fold, the tail fold of the embryo. This is the tail fold of the embryo. We have to draw anal plate over here. Yes, this is the tail fold. This is the head fold of the embryo. I hope everyone can see. Now after folding of embryo, can you see our cardiogenic area? Cardiogenic area has come caudal to your procaudal plate and cranial to septum transversum. Yes, opposite of what we saw in an unfolded embryo. Can you type yes if you understood what I am able to, what I want to convey? Did you understand what I wanted
Yes,
to
yes.
convey with
Everybody's
this?
putting yes in the chat box, Arbaz.
Yes. So you have to
Very
write
good.
this point, very, very important point. Yes. So basically cardiogenic area is not in your ectoderm. So remove this ectoderm. Cardiogenic area is in your mesoderm, guys. This is the mesoderm. Yes. The mesoderm will have two cardiogenic heart tubes, primitive heart tubes. They are called primitive heart tubes. Where are they formed? In the cardiogenic area. Where is the cardiogenic area? Above the septum transversum or cranial to septum transversum, caudal to the procaudal plate in a folded embryo. Yes, we have also seen the folding of the embryo, the abdominal cavity, how we have to fold like this. Between the gut will be formed ventral mesentery, dorsal mesentery and all. We have seen. I will not be repeating all those once again. I'll just show it like this, that this is the visceral peritoneum over here. Just this is the visceral peritoneum. This is the parietal peritoneum. Yes, this is the parietal peritoneum, and between the visceral and parietal peritoneum you'll have body cavity, and here at the back you will have the notochord. So this is the not in the endoderm but in the mesoderm you will be having the notochord or the neural tube. Beside the neural tube you will have paraxial mesoderm, intermediate mesoderm and lateral plate mesoderm. From your paraxial mesoderm you will have paraxial mesoderm, your somites. Okay, all your somites. Yes, from the intermediate mesoderm you will be having your urogenital system development, the nephrogenic cord and all. Okay, all that we are not going to discuss. Let us restrict ourselves to the heart. So you have seen very clearly how the heart is, and to show more detailedly, this is the head end of the embryo. Just once again to orient yourself. So this is the head end of the embryo. These are two upper limbs of the embryo. These are the two lower limbs of the embryo. This is the anus end of the embryo. This is the coccygeal end of the embryo. Can you see? This is the abdomen. This is the thorax part. This is the dorsal aspect of your embryo. Is everyone clear with this diagram? Clear with this model? Do you know where the cardiogenic area is? Can I see yes in the chat box?
Yes, everybody's putting yes in the chat box, Arbaz. Great.
Yes. So we will proceed with the heart development now. Not wasting much of your time. We will proceed with the heart development. I'm very much sorry. Yes. So these are the two heart tubes, guys, formed in your cardiogenic area. Cardiogenic area. Yes. The two heart tubes will fuse cranially. But caudally they are not fusing. They are separated. Right now. The two heart tubes have fused cranially, but caudally they are separated. Caudally unfused. Have they been unfused caudally? So this unfused part is known as the sinus venosus, guys. Sinus venosus. Can you see the sinus venosus? Now, this is our primitive heart tube, guys. These are our two primitive heart tubes. After fusing, this is our single primitive heart tube. Is it clear? Yes, I think it is clear. Now, there will be series of bulgings. Bulgings seen in this cardiogenic tube. Yes. What are those bulgings? Craniocaudally. If we want to see, it is the truncus arteriosus, bulbus cordis, primitive ventricle, primitive atrium, and your unfused part, that is the sinus venosus. Can I see over? Can you see all? Can you all see over here what I have drawn? This part is the truncus arteriosus, bulging number 1. This is the bulbus cordis, bulge number 2. This is the primitive ventricle, the bulge number 3. This is the primitive atrium, the bulge number 4. And I'm sorry, this is the sinus venosus as we have seen. Sinus venosus. Is it clear till now, all the bulges? May I know in the chat box? Yes. Now let us see how these bulges are going to fold into our anatomical heart, which we see in the adult human being. So this is not present vertically like this, but will be present. This is the embryo. This is the head end of the embryo, tail end of the embryo. This is the tail end of the embryo. So our heart tube is lying like this, guys. This is the truncus arteriosus, bulbus cordis, primitive ventricle, primitive atrium. Yes, this is the sinus venosus. Yes, have we seen all? Yes, we have seen. This is the bulbus cordis, primitive ventricle, primitive atrium, sinus venosus, truncus arteriosus. Yes, I think we can see. Now, I will draw this over here, series of events which will take place to fold the embryo. So, this is our truncus arteriosus, bulbus cordis, primitive ventricle, primitive atrium, sinus venosus. I am repeating this hundreds of times because that should be administered, and at the middle of the night also you should be able to say what are the foldings or bulges of the heart tube. So this is the this is truncus arteriosus, right guys? So this truncus arteriosus is the arterial end, guys, arterial end or the outflow end of the heart. This sinus venosus is the venous and or the receiving end, receiving end of the heart, or the inflow. Is it clear? Is it clear? Now this will form our atria and ventricle, atria and ventricles. Yes, obviously we know that if this part is the primitive atrium and the receiving end will be in the atria, so this part will be forming our atria and this part will be forming our ventricles. So can you see which part is forming what chambers? Grossly, detailedly we will see in the next diagram. Can you see? This is the outflow end, the truncus arteriosus. This is the inflow end. This is sinus venosus. This is the bulbus cordis, primitive ventricle, which is forming your ventricles, and this is primitive atrium, and along with some part of the sinus venosus, which will be forming our atria. Is it clear? May I know in the chat box if it is clear?
Yes, Arbaz. Yes, everybody's saying yes.
Yes, I hope that is clear. Very good. Now let us see how this is folding. Now what happens is, write down. First step we have seen this is the first step. Okay, this is the first step. Second step is the bulbus cordis and primitive ventricle will grow like this. So this was the truncus arteriosus, this is the bulbus cordis, and this is the primitive ventricle. They will grow like this, and there will be a septum formed over here. Okay, just a second, I will draw and then I will explain. Yes, so can you see this? Okay, I will draw over here only because that would be easy to correlate. Yes, so this bulbus cordis and primitive ventricle is growing excessively and forming like this. Yes, and this will be our truncus arteriosus. Yes, this is our truncus arteriosus. Yes, and this will have a groove like this, groove like this. Can you see? Yes. So now this will be your primitive atrium, and here will be our sinus venosus. So what change did happen? The bulbus cordis and primitive ventricle have grown excessively and form a bulge like this, and there is a groove forming from above. So this is a U-shaped heart. This is called as U-shaped heart. Is it clear? The U-shaped heart. So how is this going to form our normal heart? We all know that in our normal heart, this is our normal heart. From the left ventricle, our aorta will arise. From the right ventricle, our pulmonary trunk and all will arise. So both the outflow part and inflow part are present at the superior end only, not at the inferior end. Yes. So both of these structure have to eventually come to the superior end. So during folding, so this groove has formed. Yes, this has to come to the superior end. So there will be formation of now something known as the S-shaped heart. This groove has formed like this. So this is coming here. So it will be coming like this. This is the S-shaped heart. I'm not drawing the entire heart structure, but I am showing. Yes, here will be our truncus arteriosus and all. Yes, here will be our sinus venosus. Can you see? Yes, this is the S-shaped heart. Yes. Can you see? This is the S-shaped heart. This was the U-shaped heart. This is the S-shaped heart. Now, slowly we have to bring these two in the superior level. So this structure will now form our ventricle. This is nothing but our ventricle, guys. This is ventricle. This ventricle I have drawn. This structure I have drawn here. Ventricle. Now this structure I will be drawing here. This is connected to this structure, right? Like this. So this will be like this. This will be like this. Have you seen? Superiorly it is coming like this. So our ventricle is connecting like this, but this has come superiorly and this has come inferiorly. Yes. Now this primitive atria Where are atria present, guys? I showed you in the model. Posterior superior I'm sorry, posterior superior to the ventricles. Yes, so this is the ventricle. Atria will be lying posterior superior to the ventricle. This is our atria, posterior superior to the ventricle. And this structure will be lying over here. Now what is this sinus venosus? Now sinus venosus will be attaching only to our left atrium and only to our right atrium and not to our left atrium, guys. This is left atrium. Left atrium, nothing is attaching. The inflow part, the sinus venosus, is attaching only to the right atrium. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear till now? I will once again draw only the adult heart, how it is looking. So this was our ventricle which is derived. This was our ventricle. Yes, this was a truncus arteriosus and all which has formed. Posterior superiorly we had the right atrium and the left atrium, and only on the left atrium did we have our sinus venosus entering. So this is the outflow part. So one will form our pulmonary trunk and one will form our ascending aorta, and this will form our inferior vena cava. This will form our superior vena cava. Yes, is it clear? Now you may be asking, how is pulmonary veins forming then? In the left atrium, pulmonary vein should form, no? How is it forming? We will see after some time. We will see there will be a bud arising from the atria which will form the pulmonary veins. I'm sorry. Yes, we'll see now each chamber how is derived. So write down derivation of each chamber. I will once again draw that one particular diagram so that makes our life easy, right? Yes. So this is our bulbus cordis, this is our primitive ventricle, this is primitive atrium, and this is our sinus venosus, guys. Yes, is it clear? Now let me ask, was this clear? How is this folded clear? Let me know in the chat box.
Yes, Arbaz. Yes, everybody's telling yes.
Okay. I hope that was clear. Yes. So how is
Okay.
each?
One second.
This is the very important.
Yeah. Someone wants you to repeat the S-shaped heart. If you want to repeat, you can repeat at the end of the class, Arbaz. You can continue if you want.
Yes. Nothing, ma. S-shaped heart is nothing but you had your U-shaped heart, right? Because of overgrowth of this ventricle down, primitive ventricle downwards, bulbus cordis and primitive ventricle downwards. Yes. Now this will grow, turn over here. Okay. The primitive atrium will turn over here, and that will resemble S-shaped. So that is an intermediate stage in the folding of the heart. I hope that is clear. Yes. Now let us see over here. Let us name truncus arteriosus, bulbus cordis, primitive ventricle, primitive atrium, and sinus venosus. Is it clear till here? Yes, I hope this is clear. So I told you every chamber will have a smooth part and a rough part. Smooth part and a rough part. Smooth will be our outflow part, and rough will be our major part of the chamber. Yes, each chamber we have to see smooth part where it is forming from, rough part where it is forming from. We will write a table over here, but just I will show you once in a diagram and then we will write the table. Okay, what we are writing, I hope I told you this part will be atria. Right to this line, everything is forming atria. Left to this right, everything is forming ventricle. Now the primitive ventricle is forming rough part of both the ventricles, right and left ventricles. Yes, ventricles, rough part and smooth part. Rough part of both the ventricles is formed by the primitive ventricle. I hope that is clear. Smooth part of both the ventricle is formed by the bulbus cordis. Smooth part of both the ventricles is formed by bulbus cordis. I hope this is clear. Both the things are clear? Yes. So left to this line, ventricles. Primitive ventricle, rough part. Bulbus cordis, smooth part. Ventricle development over. Is it clear? Is it clear? We have seen how it is coming down, folding like this and forming the ventricle. This is the outflow part. All we have seen. Yes. Now I will show the smooth part, the atria. So primitive atrium is forming the rough part of both the atria. Rough part. So right to this line we have atria, right? Rough part of both atria, right and left atria. Now smooth part in the atria. This trunk of the sinus venosus is forming smooth part of, where is the sinus venosus draining? In the right atrium. So smooth part of only right atrium. Is it clear? Is it clear? Rough part of both the atria by pulmonary, by primitive atrium, and smooth part of right atrium by this sinus venosus, absorbed part of the sinus venosus. Now, where is the smooth part of left atrium arising then? Left atrium is, remaining. It is formed by this bud. I told you the pulmonary veins will be arising from these bud. Now, this bud will get absorbed and form the smooth part of the left atrium. I hope this is clear. I will now write down. We will now write down. Wait. We will now write down in the tabular form. This is the tabular form. Let us keep this here for our reference so that we can refer it. Just a second. So I will write like this. In your answer also you can write like this. Yes, this is our right ventricle, this is our left ventricle, this is our right atrium, this is our left atrium, this is our rough part, this is our smooth part. Yes, is it clear? How is the rough part of the right ventricle forming? All the rough part of both the right ventricle formed by the primitive ventricle. Can you see over here? Primitive ventricle. Here also primitive ventricle. How is the rough part of the atria forming? Right atrium also primitive atria, left atrium also primitive atria. Come to the smooth part. Smooth part of both the ventricles formed by the bulbous cordis. Smooth part of right atrium formed by the sinus venosus, absorbed part. And smooth part of the left atrium is formed by absorbed part of pulmonary veins. Absorbed part. Are these chamber development clear? Let me know in the chat box. Very, very important for the exam.
This is
They will
very
ask in the
important,
bio.
guys. You have to understand this. Yes, everybody has understood Arbaz.
Yes, can I proceed towards the formation of septae now? Here you will have clinical anatomy related also. Yes. Okay, I forgot to tell about this, right? I forgot to tell about the pulmonary vein. Let us see about the pulmonary vein, how it is forming, and how the major veins, major arteries and veins, how they are forming. Let us first see regarding this thing. What was this? Our ventricle. Here was our atria. Yes. Now, one should form this is our right ventricle. This is our left ventricle. So from the right ventricle, what will arise? Our pulmonary trunk will arise. From the left atrium, what will arise? Our aorta will arise. So this is our aorta, this is our pulmonary trunk. Now, how is the demarcation happening? There is a common chamber, right? Truncus arteriosus. So there will be a septum called aortico-pulmonary septum. Yes, is it clear? There will be a septum called between aorta and pulmonary trunk, like aortico-pulmonary septum, which is also known as spiral septum. Is it clear? If this septum is not forming, both the aorta and the pulmonary trunk will arise from a common trunk known as truncus arteriosus. If this is happening in the adult heart, this is a condition known as persistent truncus arteriosus. This is a condition. What will happen because of that? You'll read in clinical aspects. Okay. Yes. Now, one applied anatomy point I told you related to truncus arteriosus. Aorticopulmonary septum. Now, this sinus venosus I told you, this is the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. I told you, yes. Now this part, the trunk will get absorbed, forming your smooth part of the right atrium. So now what will happen? As this is absorbed now, the inferior vena cava will open like this, superior vena cava is open like this. This part is absorbed inside. So these will directly open into the atrium like this. Can you make sense with this? May I know in the chat box? Yes. So
Yes, Arbaz, yes.
Two main vessels over the aorta, pulmonary trunk, and the superior and inferior vena cava. Right now, here pulmonary trunk we have to talk about. Where is the pulmonary trunk? We will talk about over here. Yes. So this was our right atrium, left atrium and all. Okay, right at the left atrium, it will form a bud. It will form a bud over here. This bud will now, what it will do, this bud, what it will do now, it will form branches, 2 branches. This is one branch, this is one branch, right branch, left branch. These branches will further divide like this, re-ramify. Okay, these will re-ramify like this. Yes, yes. So this is our 4. How many pulmonary veins? I'm sorry, how many pulmonary veins we have? We have 4 pulmonary veins, right? So these are the 4 pulmonary veins. Now this part will be absorbed inside the atrium, left atrium, and form the smooth part of the left atrium, and these will directly open into our left atrium. Yes, can you make sense with this? Is it clear? May I know in the chat box if it is clear?
Yes, Arbaz. Yes, it's clear, Arbaz.
Okay, okay. The main vessels is over. The chambers are over. Now the septums. Interatrial septum and interventricular septum. So this is our heart. These are the 2 atria. This is the ventricle. This is the interventricular septum. So here in the middle there will be something known as endocardial cushion. Endocardial cushion. Can someone unmute and tell me where is endocardial cushion derived from? I told you in my previous session of general embryology.
Neural crest cells.
Exactly. Who is that? Mustafa. Very good. That is derived from neural crest cell. Can you tell me what are the other derivatives of neural crest cell? Other derivatives of neural crest cells? Very, very important question.
Melanocyte, Schwann cells, arachnoid, pia mater, parafollicular cells, adrenal medulla.
Exactly. That is the way. And odontoblast and ganglia, the sympathetic autonomic ganglia and parasympathetic autonomic ganglia as well. Parafollicular cells of your thyroid. Very good. I'm glad that you're remembering this. The structures derived from the neural crest cells. So endocardial cushion is also one of the structure derived from the neural crest cells. Now, what will happen here? Yes, there will be a septum forming. There will be a septum forming from the superior surface of the atria like this. This is known as septum primum. Write down. Interatrial septum we are discussing. Interatrial septum. So first step is what? There will be a septum forming from the superior surface of the heart growing towards the endocardial cushion. This septum is known as septum primum. What is the next step now? This septum primum will grow completely. It will grow completely. Now this has grown completely. Now this entire thing is septum primum now. Septum primum. Yes, this entire thing is septum primum. But initially, before growing completely, the septum primum has grown to a certain height, and there was one foramen over here. That foramen was foramen primum. So first step, what is the first step? A structure is coming down, a septum is coming down from the superior surface of the heart towards the endocardial cushion up to the middle, and there is a foramen remain, I'm sorry, that foramen is the foramen primum. Yes, now it will grow completely and obliterate this foramen primum. Now what happens? Let us see over here. Now what happens? So this was septum primum. Now the middle part of the septum primum will degenerate. So this was upper part of septum primum. This is endocardial cushion. This is the lower part of septum primum. Why there is a hole over here? Why there is a hole? Because the middle part of the septum primum degenerated. This foramen is known as foramen secundum. Foramen secundum. Where is foramen secundum present? In the middle part of the foramen primum only the foramen secundum is present. I hope this is clear. Yes. Now what will happen? Beside the septum primum, another septum will come down like this. This septum is known as septum secundum, guys. Septum secundum. Now, what is the function of this septum secundum? It is acting as a valve. Will allow the blood only from right atrium to left atrium and not vice versa. This is acting as a one-way valve, guys. Is it clear? How is septum secundum forming? Yes. Now what is foramen secundum then? This is the foramen secundum. What is foramen primum? This is the foramen primum.
Sorry for
Yes.
interruption. It's time 8. Please look the time.
Okay. Yes, thank you. I'll just take more 10 minutes, I think 10 to 15 minutes. That will be sufficient. If sir doesn't mind. Yes. So yeah. So this is nothing but foramen ovale. Foramen ovale. Okay. This is foramen ovale. Did you understand the development of interatrial septum? Now, after the development of the heart, once person is born, there will first be physiological closure of this foramen ovale. Then there will be by 2 months, the anatomical closure of foramen ovale. Sometimes only physiological closure will occur and anatomical closure will not occur. That is a clinical condition known as atrial septal defect, ASD. ASD can be due to persistence of the foramen ovale, persistence of foramen primum, persistence of foramen secundum. It can be due to any of these 3 things, but the most common is propatency of foramen ovale or fossa ovalis. After the development, in the adult heart, this structure forms a depression that is known as fossa ovalis. We all know this. Is interatrial septum with applied clear? Only the names
Yes,
I'm telling.
there's a slight doubt. How did septum secundum form? Just if you could just confirm how it forms. That's all.
Okay. So once again, quickly telling. So this is endocardial cushion. From above, septum primum came till the middle, and there was a hole, foramen primum. Now this has grown completely. This has grown completely, obliterating the foramen primum, and there is another hole forming over here. Called the foramen secundum. Okay, foramen secundum. Now beside the septum primum, another septum comes till 3/4 of the height. That is known as the septum secundum, and the foramen over here is called as foramen ovale. Now this is known as foramen ovale. Hope this is clear. Interatrial septum, very, very important VSAQ, SAQ, Viva question also. Can we proceed towards the interventricular septum?
Yes, Arbaz, you may proceed.
Yes, let us proceed towards the interventricular septum now. What is happening? This was our ventricle. This was our ventricle. So in the ventricle, what will happen? There will be invagination of this muscular part up to some height. This, what it will do, it will invaginate up. This is known as muscular part of the interventricular septum. Muscular part of interventricular septum. Is it clear? Now, where is it being derived from? From the invagination of the cardiac muscle. Now, here it was the endocardial cushion. It will form some part of the interventricular septum over here. That part of the interventricular septum is known as your bulbar part. Your muscular part, bulbar part. And in between there will be membranous part. This is the membranous part of interventricular septum. Bulbar part, membranous part, muscular part of interventricular septum. Hope this is clear. If there is atresia or non-formation of any of this part of the interventricular septum, there will be an anomaly known as ventricular septal defect. I would like to tell some points about ventricular septal defect over here. Now, what happens in ventricular septal defect is, just a second. Okay, I'll show here in another paper. I'll show. Yes, what happens in ventricular septal defect is, suppose this is the right atrium, this is the left atrium, this is the ventricle. Okay, this is the interventricular septum, and there is a hole. This is called ventricular septal defect, VSD. So we are discussing VSD now, some part. Okay, now right atrium, right ventricle. This is the right ventricle. It will send the blood to the lungs. So these are the lungs. This is the pulmonary trunk. It has sent the blood to lungs, and now these lungs will send blood to left atrium. We all know this. From left atrium through the bicuspid wall over here, and from left ventricle this will go to the right ventricle again. So the blood which has gone to the lungs again came back and is going to lungs. Instead, what should have happened? It should have gone from left ventricle to the aorta. Instead of going to aorta, some part of blood is going back to the lungs. It is a circular motion like this. So what will happen because of this? There will be over congestion. There will be congestion of this lungs. Congestion means more blood is flowing towards the lungs. So they will present with pulmonary infections. And how can we diagnose this? Either they will present with cyanosis. Okay, why they will present with cyanosis? And congestive heart failure. What is heart failure?
Hello, Arbaz.
Yes, sir.
This is not pulmonary infection, it's pulmonary edema. Congestion of the lungs, because of the hypervolemia of the lungs, it will cause pulmonary edema. I think by mistake you said pulmonary infection, it is pulmonary edema.
Okay, sir. I'm sorry for the mistake. That is pulmonary congestion, pulmonary edema. Water is getting filled over there. Yes. Now what happens is there will be decreased blood flowing to the body because much blood is not flowing in the aorta. So heart failure will be seen. What is heart failure? When heart is not able to pump the blood adequately to the body is known as heart failure. So we have the features of heart failure. What are the features of heart failure? Dyspnea. All those features of heart failure will be having. Dyspnea means shortness of breath we will be having. So we have several grades of dyspnea, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 according to NYHA classification. All that you'll study in your second year. Okay, so I just gave you how the patient can present. Yes, and auscultation. By auscultation also you can find. Auscultation, what you will find by auscultation. There will be some murmurs. What is murmur? What is a murmur? You have a question in your physiology. Describe the murmurs. Yes, murmur is nothing but a sound produced in the heart when blood flows through any orifice. When blood flows through any orifice. Yes, either it can be due to small orifice allowing large amount of blood, allowing normal amount of blood, or a normal orifice allowing large amount of blood. Like for example, if you hold a pipe, this is a pipe. If you press the pipe, there will be some sound produced because water is coming through a narrow space. There will be some sound produced. That is nothing but murmur. I think sir can enlighten more on this. I don't know more about this. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah, absolutely right. Go ahead.
Yes. So these are some of the murmurs which is present. So there is ventricular septal defect over here. So pressure in the left ventricle is greater than right ventricle. Here the pressure is 120, but here the pressure is 25. Yes, we all know this. So because of higher pressure difference, the blood will flow from this septal defect left to right shunt. This is a left to right shunt. It will go over here and towards the lung. Yes, this is true. So because of flowing of the blood like this, there will be a murmur. There will be a murmur seen. This murmur will be auscultated on the left lower sternal border. Will be auscultated on the left lower sternal border. This is known as Rogers murmur. Rogers murmur. Yes, this is the murmur. And some more murmurs can be seen. Why some more murmurs? This is the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, blood coming from the superior vena cava through the tricuspid valve in the ventricle, and blood coming from the here also from the ventricular septal defect in the ventricle. That means there is more blood now, more blood in the ventricle. So I said you, if the normal valve allows more blood, there will be murmur. So because this pulmonary valve is allowing more blood, there will be murmur over here. Which type of murmur will be seen over here? Whenever there is a systole, there will be murmur. So there is ejection systolic murmur. Yes, this will be ejection systolic murmur. These two murmurs, just remember and write them down. You can read more about this in your pediatrics when you come in your clinical years. So this was all about ventricular septal defect, I had to say. And I think I can say something about the, okay, I think arterial system we cannot discuss today. We'll add it to some
Yeah,
other
it's
session,
done
because
already, Arbaz. Yeah.
yes, arterial system we'll discuss some other day, because we have invited sir. We cannot waste much of his time. So I would like sir to add a few points to enlighten our attendees.
Yeah, Arbaz. My gosh, amazing, awesome. It was a professorial lecture, Arbaz. I really mean it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
It
for your
was
kind
it
words.
was an amazing, awesome talk. Um, I don't know how to describe. I got goosebumps here. Really,
No.
the way you were taking us through was really, it was amazing. But only thing is, you have covered too much in a short time. But for first time listeners or students who have not faced anatomy, not seen real anatomy, it may be a little difficult for them. But I think you should speed it down a bit so they'll understand better. But you are wonderful, flawless. I remember suddenly I am an Usmania student. How much time do I have, Arbaz?
Yes, sir. No, sir. We have much time. You can continue.
Okay.
We have time, sir.
Oh,
We
great.
have time. You can continue.
Okay, great. I'm an Usmania student and proud Usmania student. I scored 11th rank in the MCET examination in the state. That was the AP state, Telangana and Andhra together. So that's why I got a seat in Usmania Medical College. My professor of anatomy, who was no more the great soul, Dr. Hanmantrao, he was very fascinated teacher. He was very focused in embryology. So whatever points he told us, still vaguely remember many of things. But after Arbaz's refreshing lecture, I became really alert, and I've got a fascination to read again the embryology, which I forgot long back. Uh, Great, Arbaz, great. You are doing a very good service to your this is a social cause. To your students must be very happy. Now, for the last 1 hour and 12 minutes, you became my professor, my teacher. Really, Arbaz, I don't have words. I'll tell you when I meet you. Really, I remember my
Thank you.
teachers. Yeah, really, I remember my teacher. Suddenly, I feel like falling at your feet. And this is coming from the left ventricle, the myocyte of my heart, the terminal apex myocyte, the myocyte, last myocyte in my apex. It is come from so deep of my heart, really
That means
amazing.
a lot,
Anyway,
sir. To be appreciated.
keep it up, and I don't know what special doctor you're going to become, but if you really take up anatomy as your career, your entire the junior students of the medical community will become good doctors in future. I don't know what specialist you want to become, cardiologist or whatever, I don't know. But if you become an anatomist, the foundation of all the medical students will be very strong, and they will become good doctors in future. Anyway, it's up to you. Arbaz, you have
Yes.
taken us through a very fantastic voyage from the falling cone, the bundle of bundle branches. You know, bundle branches are nothing but specialized muscle cells. You cannot see them with naked eye, and you have also taken to the cozy corner of the left atria, which is called appendages, LAA, what we call in left atrial appendage and right atrial appendage, and papillary muscles, and the valves. So each part, Arbaz, that you have said, each part of the heart can be affected with some different diseases. So students, my dear students, you be perfect. I know you may be confused because it is too much in just 1 hour 10 minutes for you. But you go today. Nobody should sleep today until you read the entire thing what Arbaz has told you. Read till tomorrow morning. You can sleep in the daytime tomorrow. You can sleep because anyway you're not having classes. So read the whole thing again and again and 2 or 3 times, then get familiar with it. Because in future we are going to face the diseases of each part that Arbaz was talking about. Each part, the appendage. See, appendage. What is the importance of appendage? He is just not telling for the sake of completion of the theory part. Left atrial appendage is a small cozy corner where the blood circulation becomes, once the blood reaches that particular small triangular area of the left atrium, it becomes little slow. So that is where the blood, what is the character of blood? The blood has to be on the run always. Whenever there is a slowness of the blood, it may tend to get clot. So left atrial appendage is one vulnerable area where your blood becomes slow. Because of the turbulence of the blood flow, the blood may get clotted there, and that clot which is formed in the left atrium may go down from the mitral valve into the left ventricle, and it go into the cerebral circulation and cause stroke, paralytic attack. So see, that is the importance of each part that Arbaz was enthusiastically discussing. So this left atrial appendage is a small fellow, stupid idiot fellow sitting in the corner, cozy corner of the left atrium. Is a very dangerous guy. If the blood becomes slow for some reason, why blood should become slow there? Naturally, there is a slowness in the left atrial appendage. But whenever there is a stricture, where is a stenosis of the mitral valve, what we call is mitral stenosis. In mitral stenosis, because of the narrowing of the mitral valve, the blood becomes even slower. It gets circulated in the left atrium. So this left atrial appendage, that small triangle area, is a vulnerable area for the clot formation. So each word of Arbaz has got some clinical significance, which you will learn in subsequent years, second year, third year, when you come to us. So I can go on and on. Papillary muscle, for example, papillary muscle can get ruptured. You know, if papillary muscle, if somebody has a heart attack, papillary muscle is a small cylindrical structures muscle that that takes part in the valve apparatus. So each valve has apparatus. So 4 or 5 components: valve ring, valve cusp, papillary muscle, and chordae tendineae. So this entire thing is called a valve apparatus. So each part of this valve apparatus. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You were
Yes, sir. You're
disconnected for
audible.
some time.
Yeah. So these papillary muscles can get ruptured, you know, because of the acute heart attack, myocardial infarction, acute heart attack. This muscle can rupture, and this pulling of the valves, atrioventricular valves, can get disturbed, and the blood, instead of going into the aorta from the left ventricle, may go into the left atrium and cause problem. If there is a muscle, papillary muscle rupture, you will get mitral regurgitation. Sometimes this rupture can kill a patient, and sometimes this patient may have to be taken into the operation theater, and emergency surgical repair has to be done for this ruptured papillary muscle. That is the importance of small papillary muscle. So heart is a dynamic organ. That's the only muscle which continuously works throughout your life. So many millions of times it has to work in a human life. Again, you spoke about base, apex, chambers, and great vessels. Each part. Again, why should we talk about apex? Why should we talk about a base? Because when you take an X-ray, even you're talking about the borders of the left border and right border. Rightly so, if you take an X-ray, so there is some diseases which you can diagnose on X-ray, some diseases which you can diagnose on your auscultation with your stethoscope. There are many diseases you can diagnose on investigation, ECG, 2D echo, so on and so forth. So if you come into the border of the heart, coming from a left side, for example, can you see me, Arbaz? No?
No, sir, you're not visible. I think you're not on the camera.
Okay. Now?
There is a left button, sir. Left side to the mic, there is a button for the camera.
Yeah, I know, but...
You have to click here.
Sir, please
Okay,
press
now-
on the share button. Share button. Please click on the share button.
No. Video button I'm pressing. There's no share button here.
Yeah, downside, sir. After clicking on video button, click
Yeah.
on the share button.
Can you see me now?
Yes, sir.
You are
Yes,
visible.
Yes, sir,
Yes,
you're
sir.
visible.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So he was talking about borders of the heart: left border, right border. Left border is formed by, first, from above downwards. The aortic knuckle comes first. the small bulged portion, aortic knuckle, pulmonary conus, left atrial appendage, and left ventricle. Right side, as Arba rightly said, the superior vena cava, right atrium, and the inferior vena cava. Why should we know these things? Just by looking at the heart, looking at the X-ray of the chest, if the left border of the heart is straightened, where the pulmonary conus and then should be seen like a bulge, if it becomes straight, the straightening of the left border is an indirect evidence of mitral stenosis. So how fascinating, how interesting the medicine subject of medicine is. I'm happy you all joined medicine. Congratulations for choosing medicine as your profession. But now from today onwards, you have to take an oath and rededicate yourself. And once you have taken medicine, you cannot take it easy. It's not like you're doing some fashion designing or some BCom and all. And medicine has to be learned at the bedside of the patient. Patients are our teachers. Unfortunately, you joined in the bad time of Corona, but the enjoyment of going to college, going to the anatomy department, going to hospital, seeing patients, no profession will give you this much of satisfaction like a doctor, successful doctor. Suppose a patient comes to you and says, "Doctor Sahab, mere ko theek ho gaya, thank you very much." No amount of money can give you this much of satisfaction. So still it is noble profession. Unfortunately, partly we are also responsible as doctors. Medicine was a art to begin with, hundreds of years back. Then it became a science. Then now unfortunately it is becoming commerce, which is bad. So because of some bad people, we're all getting bad name. So from your generation onwards, you take a serious look into this and bring back the lost glory of our profession. Which is on you only you can do it. Even a single man like Arbaz can change the entire world. I mean it. So Arbaz, coming back to the subject again, you have nicely started from ectoderm, endoderm, and procardial plate, and all those things which are forgotten in my mind. Good, you reminded them. And coming back to the abnormalities, why he is talking about anatomy and embryology. Dear students, during the embryology, during the 9 months of dynamic changes, everyday changes that Dr. Arbaz was discussing, anytime, any step can go wrong and cause abnormal thing. Suppose like you have a cleft palate. Some people will be having cleft palate because the lips have failed to join in the center. Same thing can happen in the heart. So each step that Arbaz was talking about can go wrong. If it is delayed or if it's overcorrected, you get all those defects. For example, cor triatrium. Some people will have 3 atria because of this. There is some disturbance in the proper formation. There's some problem in the unity of those tissues in a proper way. The same thing, the great vessels that Arbaz was talking about, the great vessels, aorta, pulmonary artery, they can be transpositioned. The aorta, instead of coming from the left ventricle, it may arise from the right ventricle and vice versa. So this is called transposition of the great ventricle, great vessel. So the baby, the boy or girl, the born will be blue when they are born. So unless you take care of this issue and take care of the anatomical defect, congenital defect, and take the child to the surgical correction, the child may not survive. So same thing, valve can be stenosed and congenitally. Valve can be stenosed, valve can be incompetent. Anything goes wrong in this complex procedure of development of embryology of the heart, the patient will have congenital heart diseases, which some people may even cannot make it even for 1 day or 1 year. The children may die unless you intervene. Similarly, we have tetralogy of Fallot, trialogy of Fallot, pentalogy of Fallot, that you will know later. And as Arbaz rightly was saying, septal defects is a very common congenital problems. We can auscultate, we can examine the patient with stethoscope and we can diagnose. If you're really familiar with the murmurs that Arbaz was talking, you can find out, you can examine, you can diagnose basing on your auscultation whether this patient has ventricular septal defect or atrial septal defect. What murmurs you expect? Where is the murmur? Is it systolic murmur or the diastolic murmur? You can diagnose with your stethoscope, and you can of course confirm with the further investigation like ECG and 2D echo. Sometimes the patient may, some people may have dextrocardia. The whole cardia, which Arbaz was talking about, which is supposed to be on the 2/3 on the left side and 1/3 on the right side, normally. Normally, we all think that heart means the left side. No, only 2/3 is the left side, 1/3 is still on the right side, normally. But sometimes the heart can totally be developed on the right side. This we call it as dextrocardia. In dextrocardia patients, sometimes they will be situs inversus or situs solitus. Situs inversus is the liver is on the left side, spleen is on the right side. This is situs inversus. Situs solitus means there will be only one dextrocardia. Liver will be on the same side, spleen will be on the same side. So if it is a mirror image kind of shifting of the sides, it's not very dangerous. But if only heart is on the right side and remaining things are on the normal side, that is more dangerous. So we can go on and on, and this atrial septal defect, persistent foraminal, these are all the disease defects that we come across in our day-to-day life. We diagnose basing on our clinical examination, patients' complaints and history and all. So cardiology is a fascinating subject. This is the beginning, this is the root, this is the foundation that you have to be very sincere, serious. There is no time for you to learn. There is 24 hours should not be enough for you to learn. No night, no Sunday, no holiday, no festival, nothing. You have to focus on your studies, medicine. Otherwise, you will be like everybody. So you should become someone. There are many doctors on the street, many doctors. If you become a doctor, you get a degree and you can start your clinic or hospital, sit and in interest. You will get money, pay patient. But no, you should become someone. You should be a sought after doctor. Somebody should come to you with your name. Hey, Dr. Arbaz, hai, wahan jayenge. So my dear students, I have taken long time and thank Arbaz and his entire team for calling me, and really very happy. I would love to come again and again for these kind of sessions. Thank you very much. All the very best. Take care. God bless all my my children, students. Good luck to you. Try to become good doctors. Time pass mat kariye. These 4-5 years, sorry, these 4-5 years plus your post-graduation 3 years. If you take care of these 7-8 years, that will take care of yourself throughout the life. If you neglect this 4 years, 5 years, 8 years of your medical education life, you will not become a good doctor in future. So therefore, students, please take care. Anytime, anybody, any college, they can call me. I am there for you. You can call me for any doubt or anything. Thank you once again, Arbaz and your team. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us. Thank you for motivating also.
Thank you, sir.
Indeed, I remember your words, sir, that you said once, medicine cannot be learned in our comfort zone. We have to go out of our comfort zone to learn medicine. That is what motivates us to go out of our comfort zone and learn. And indeed, you say that
That's
medicine
why,
is art.
Yeah, that's why I remember we used to attend classes at 7 o'clock and 6 o'clock. You remember I took one class at 6 o'clock, one class at 7 o'clock. And
Yes, sir.
Sundays also I take classes. I have a dedicated classroom in my house. I have spent about 16-17 lakhs to construct one beautiful class for my students. So I have contributed many new things into the national education curriculum. I have written to the central government. They have called me to Delhi, and I have spoken to the health minister and have given my inputs. They have taken many points and they have included in the present curriculum. So teaching is my oxygen, my adrenaline.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
I
very much,
deem
sir.
it a
Thank you
great.
very much for attending today.
Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
thanks
I
once
deem it
again.
a
Bye
Can you
great
add vote of
honor.
thanks, sir?
Yes, sir. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable session First and foremost, I want to thank our chief guest, Dr. Vijay Mohan Sir, HOD of Department of Internal Medicine, Deccan College of Medical Sciences, who despite the busy schedule has graced this session with his presence. We are grateful to Vijay Mohan Sir for enriching us with his knowledge, which has added as a cherry on top of the cake. Thank you, sir, for your kindness, for your interest, and your continued support, which you have shown to us, sir. I also thank Sayyid Arbaz for conducting such a wonderful session and showing paper models, 3D images. And also, I thank Sadat Muhyiddin, Nusrat, Zakiuddin, Pranab Mamula, and Anant Naik for working hard to make our session smooth and devoid of spams. Last but not the least, I also thank our juniors of 2K19 for showing their trust in us and making Medico Hub organization a success. Thank you, sir, for being with us today over here. Thank you, sir.
Panelists can say and everyone can leave the class.
Okay, I think there are certain doubts left out, Arbaz. I think we can cover it in the next class tomorrow.
Okay. Feedback from HDA.
हाँ
हाँ,
भेज दिया।
Congrats, अच्छा बोले सर, बहुत अच्छा तारीफ करे।
Everyone can
अच्छा था,
leave.
मतलब बड़ा सा सेशन।
मबरूक मबरूक मुबारक मेरे भाई।
आप लोगों को भी मुबारक, सक्सेस हुआ सेशन आज का। सर को बुलाए, जो नियत से
चलो
बुलाए वो
अरबाज,
नियत पूरी।
हाँ हाँ, अच्छा वहाँ चैट बॉक्स में थोड़े डाउट्स आ रहे, देखो जरा देख लो ना।
Doubts are foramen primum becoming foramen secundum. No, foramen primum is a different structure. Foramen secundum is a different structure. Foramen primum is present in the middle of the septum primum, guys. Yes. Foramen primum is present below the septum primum in the first step, and foramen secundum is present in the middle of the septum primum. If it is not clear,